You are the undiscovered self. We all are. We don't know who we're going to become when we come into the world because it's a journey. And as we take that journey, we can discover who we are or who we can become. And that's a journey that we take in our consciousness. Our consciousness is formed as we live, but also from where we came from, who we came from, and the ideas and beliefs that we each hold. And when we come into the world, we have to decide if we're going to move through the restrictions or the limitations that have been in our particular evolutionary path so that we can live the lives that we want to have. Because when you do that, you start to come to a higher state of understanding of consciousness. And then the magical thing that starts to happen, you become happy and you heal physically, mentally, emotionally. Now, you never know who you're going to be when you come into the world. You might do a lot of different jobs and then end up at a place that you didn't even understand because you were discovering yourself. And so, what I discovered was that I brought in information during this transition in our world that can have us move to a higher state of consciousness. But I had to do it first within myself. Because then, when you do that, you heal. That's what happened. And then you get rid of your anger. And then you get rid of your hatred and your judgment and all of those things. Because, see, all souls are equal. All souls are born with purpose and worth, but it develops over time. So we have that individual consciousness that we have within us. That's our soul mission, let's call it that. We don't live forever. We're on the earth for a bit of time. And so what came from me is that I was able to access information that I could give it to others. And I always got it beforehand. Now, I didn't know I was doing that. I wrote something, and it's up on my website. It's called "I Downloaded a Philosophy," and it was 2 years ago, and it's on my website. But if you'd read it, it probably wouldn't have made sense then, but it could probably make sense now because we've seen all the changes happening in our world. Then I started telling people how I knew what was going to be coming up. I didn't know. I just felt, and I had interpreted all of the energies because we are all energy. The world moves that way, our planets and the whole bit. So I just happened to develop it. And it was challenging because I went through all the horrible things. I went through the things that nobody wants to experience. But then when you do that, you can give it to others because that's how we evolve. When we live, we're meant to develop something and put it into the world that's of value. And then those who come later can have a better life. We can have a better world if we're willing to own who we are. And sometimes it's challenging. It was horribly challenging for me because I had to first come to believe it. And then I relied on other people to believe it as well. You might do that. We have to accept our uniqueness that's within each of us. And so today is the 24th of July, but I'm going to read to you a message I received last year on the 25th of July because it's going to be really pertinent in our world today, tomorrow, whenever this is out of, whenever you see it, because we're going to have more energies that happen. So if you can move to a place of understanding yourself and living your best life, you're helping to create the world we want to see. But let me read the message to you first because I want to have it. I wanted to do it today because sometimes I receive urgings, let's call them, to do it, but I have two private channeling sessions tomorrow, so I want to keep my energy for those because I always like to be totally connected. So I want to get this out today, but probably that's purposeful because someone will hear this now or tomorrow, and it'll help you because we will have different energies in our world tomorrow. So I'm sure it's going to give you some guidance, some comfort, and some peace in this particular message. And it is this: you are the undiscovered self. We mean you and your world, for you manifest both similarly. You do so over your time space trajectory, and you chose a pivotal time in your world, meaning what you have to offer could make a tremendous difference in your life and world when you accept who you are and your gifts. We are leading you to our live talk on your coming full moon. For the more of you who choose to believe in yourselves and your capabilities and decide to create magnificent lives, the world you see now and the lives you experience will be the ones you desire, and you will have the world you want. Those conditions only occur when you discover who you are, which is the work we have provided in our Ascension Guide. We gave you a message on this date in 2012, for we wanted you to connect the information with Carl Jung, which is why we used the title of his seminal book, The Undiscovered Self. It is readily available, and if you were to read or listen, you would understand he has described your life and world today, even though it was written more than 66 years ago. We gave you something in October of 2022 that we had our messenger write as he had to accept his undiscovered self as each do. And your world will do the same with your assistance. No one is more important than you. Your physical life experience is your experience. In other words, when you decided to come onto the physical plane, it was with the intention to expand spiritually. In order to accomplish this, you knew you would attract and allow all the right events, circumstances, and people to show up for your benefit in that effort. When you begin to understand and accept this premise, you also understand how self-defeating it becomes to bemoan anything that occurs to you during your lifetime. You understand that all of it is to help you with precisely what you intended, which was your expansion and evolvement. It is all your experience. Now, please understand when I received that message in 2012, I could not understand it fully or relate it to my life or the world now. I was just operating on faith. But what has developed into it, it opened my consciousness, which is why I can do this work now, which is why I'm completing and putting this work out to give to others. That's why I'm doing this. And so I put out something earlier today, and I'd love for you to read it. And it's called You Can Transform Today, because it takes you back through several years of the information that I have received, and it's all aligned. We are aligned in the universe, every single person. Every person born has worth and value. And all I want is for you to find that. All I want is for you to understand that, because I know that when you do that, you're going to have a great life, number one, but also you're putting an energy into the world of love, light and love, because now you're loving yourself. That's what we're each meant to do. But we have to work through all the old stuff. And that's what I had to do, which I talked about earlier. And all of my articles have been a process of me moving through that, which is why I can give this to you. Now, there was something that was said. Someone sent me an email a while ago saying, did I cut it off? Did I cut off the enrollments? No, I said, I'm only going to take a couple now, where I'm going to give you a free a consultation, a bonus, let's say. You can always come into the program, because anybody can afford it. It's a monthly thing you can do, but after it's all in there, it's probably the price is going to be different. But that's not the point. The point is anybody can do it. And what my goal was always to bring in something that give anyone the ability to own and love who they are, because that's what's going to make the biggest difference in our world. And so if you're still a little afraid, if you're having judgment, if you're having doubts about who you are, then this would probably be great for you, because you can move through all the old stuff, which is what we need to do in our world. And we're going to see a lot of it. And so I'm saying this because tomorrow we'll probably see some energies in the United States, because I've talked about that. That's where the greatest energy of the world is kind of being focused. But if we move through it, if we add our light and love to it, it becomes very different. That's why I'm giving you this now. So please check out my work. You can go and I'll leave the links here. You can find it all in the description, or go to my website and you can find it all there. But you are the undiscovered self. If there's anything that I could give you, just know that you can always ascend, evolve, and create a really wonderful life, because you have the ability, the same ability as any other soul. See you guys soon.